All right, everybody, this will be a warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 154, D, I believe. So just touching up on a few things like the false flags and stuff, and what the hell's going on with all the propaganda going on and the things that happened the past year. You can see now that, when it's their asses, they want the police around. But all year long, you heard about defund the police, and the police were nothing but a racist organization. They put people on TV who were saying, and there was plenty of stuff on YouTube too. Oh, the police are just a remnant of organizations that were formed to hunt down slaves, which is a crock of you know what, because there's been one form of law enforcement or another throughout history in every civilization. But when I relate the story of my mother having lost a son and daughter and how it affected her, you got to think how the hardship of war is on people who lose their children, and vice versa, children who lose their parents. And you also got to look at what these gangs do in this country. Do you hear anything more about the killing of those children in Chicago by them gangs? There was the little boy, and then right after that, a little girl. They should both be alive today and playing. So I gotta ask them gangs out there, just like the politicians, how do you sleep at night? And you've made martyrs out of criminals, put them on TV. Who did something to require police to respond, but you want to make it out like they're out hunting people down. They wouldn't be there if there wasn't something going on and they didn't have to respond. And then you assault them or do whatever and stuff goes bad, and all of a sudden it's the cop that's the bad guy. He didn't initiate the whole thing. When somebody say, well, they pull people over and this and that, everybody gets pulled over. You think just African Americans get pulled over? And the whole thing with blurring the statistics on, altercations between police and people, and not even admitting that, white people get killed by police officers too. You never hardly ever see any of that in the news. So say you gotta be objective, because they'll slant things to manipulate you one way or another. And it doesn't matter if it's like about energy or crime, whatever it is. Politicians and people, you're supposed to be objective. Even during the time during the summer, even the right-wing media, anytime there was a killing in Chicago, they were all over it saying, look at this. But now you don't hear anything of it. So it's like people use what they can when it's convenient for them, and then everyone forgets about it. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of stuff doesn't get fixed in this country, because it's while they can use it for their political careers, or their ideology, they'll make whatever it is as important as can be, and then when there's something else, then they move on, and you know, it's like, hey, what happened? Why aren't you fixing this? And they're on, you know, because they're on to something else. And you know, they'll make things out to be racist or what have you, while it's to their advantage and stuff. And it's just amazing, the games that are played, and it's like human life is cheap, whether it's through false flags and etc., or the way they let gangs get away with the stuff they do. You know, the abortion. You know, it's you gotta understand. You know, if they won't protect the unborn, then why do you think it'd be so hard for them to do other things to hurt people on purpose, just to achieve their political agendas? You know, look, the crime rates went sky high in New York City. When Giuliani was mayor, they were way down. He got a lot of flack for that stop and frisk stuff and everything, and you know, that was racist and all that. But if you believe Black Lives Matter, that saved a lot of black lives, saved a lot of young black men from killing each other in those gangs. Yeah, it was you can argue it was a violation of our civil liberties and stuff, but what are you supposed to do when you have so much lawlessness and people shooting each other and other crimes going on? You know, sometimes authority has to be used to put a stop to that kind of crap. We saw the exact reversal of that kind of stuff go on this past summer. And politicians allowed lawlessness. They exalted, you know, criminals. Yeah, there are incidences where, you know, either the cop is out and outright just overstepping his bounds or her bounds, and then there's other cases they're in a situation where, you know, mistakes are going to be made, but they always do is point the finger at the cop. You gotta have better training, you gotta have this and that, and now they're, you know, defend the police and all this stuff. What about teaching people how to behave? How about that? To show the officer some respect before things get out of hand. To listen to the officer. And you wouldn't have a lot of these situations. But when we saw the exact reversal, you know, you saw the mobs and what they did and everything like that. And then, like those homeowners in St. Louis who defended their lives and their property, all of a sudden they were the bad guys. You know, so they'll do whatever they have to push their political agendas. You know, you had that Officer Dorn was killed over there and everything. You know, none of that could have mattered less to CNN and people like, you know, turn a blind eye to all that type of injustice. Turn a blind eye to the injustice done to those children and parents in Chicago. Forget about those lives lost. because of injustice, because of violence. You know, the hypocrisy and the political games being played in this country, and I'm sure around the world. Politicians and lawmakers and stuff, y'all need to get a grip on yourselves. You really do. You know, and like I say, you got to be objective and like, you know, with things like energy. I tried to point out, you know, about subsidized stuff and everything, you know. You know, you're gonna subsidize taxpayer money into things that are not going to do the job, aren't going to answer our energy problems, which sure will get people to invest in that. Why? Because they got a guaranteed return of taxpayer money. A guaranteed return of taxpayer money. That's the only way you're going to get people to invest in those things. And a lot of people turn a blind eye to it or don't understand that, because what's being subsidized is something they favor. For either they're not informed on it, they're just going by the slogans and the feel-goodiness of it, what have you. But look at it this way. If it was coal or something that you didn't like that was being subsidized, you would be able to see it more clearly, wouldn't you? Hey, they're giving our tax money to that big nasty coal company or big nasty, you know, whatever company. And that's keeping the growth of wind and solar energy down. You know, they can't compete. You'd see it then. But because they're going to subsidize those wind and solar and everything, you can't be objective about it, because that gives you your feel-goody deal, and that's what you've been taught is going to solve everything. So, and like I said, we need to develop other things, and we need to be concerned about pollution. But using the global warming stuff and everything just to prop up companies that politicians are going to get rich from, and investors are going to get rich from, and the taxpayer's going to foot the bill for, and they're not going to solve the energy problem at all, and they're not going to do a damn thing if you believe in global warming to cool the planet off. You know, it's just all a charade. It's just all a charade. But either a lot of greedy politicians or uninformed politicians and people. You know, so you got to stay objective. And that's the same with crime, you know, anything else going on. The same with the election. You know, you got to be objective. If there was false stuff that has gone on, it's got to be fixed. But we don't hear anything about that for the first 100 days, so that it doesn't happen again. So I just wanted to point out, you know, like I said, there was a point where I was like, man, the world is mad. Everything going on. You know, human life is cheap. People do anything for political power and wealth. You know, anything to build an empire. Lie to start wars. And you got, you know, once if that, all that hits you for real, you're gonna realize it's mad. And you know, you look at what they put on TV anymore. The rampant, you know, pornography, you know, became mainstream, you know, stuff in the 90s. You know, it used to be, you know, something, you know, it was just, you know, the dirty old man in the raincoat type stuff. Or the real seedy parts of town and everything, you know. Then, you know, now it's, you know, talked about openly on TV shows as being, you know, something that everybody, you know, it's like football and baseball anymore. You know, and it's like the laws that were changed to allow that stuff to happen and everything, you know. It's just, you know, they'll tell you, well, it's freedom of expression and free speech. Oh, okay, so that is, but not speaking out against your government, that's not free speech anymore. All that crap is free speech. And that's like, you know, burning the U.S. flag on, you know, on our soil. That should be outlawed. Well, that's free speech. No, Supreme Court ruled that was free speech. But that flag represents our Constitution. And we're all supposed to defend our Constitution and the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. Yes, I can understand, and some people might think it's a demonstration of their frustration, this and that, but it's divisive. All right? You can give speeches, you can, you know, use the legal system, whatever it is you're trying to fight. Other ways you can do it other than burning the flag, because that's divisive. And then you have these illegals who come here and stuff, and they'll wave their country's flag and burn ours. That ain't right. It's divisive. The flag represents our nation and our Constitution. And if you ask me, burning it is an attack on those things, the nation and the Constitution. And it just causes more hatred between people. There are ways you can do to resolve your problems and make your free speech known. So I don't think burning the flag is right. And if you know, that's part of my platform, I'd make that illegal to burn the flag. In fact, I'd probably make it where all U.S. flags had to be made in the United States. All the poles, everything to go with it has to be made in the United States. Show some pride in your country, even though it's falling apart and they're putting us all at each other's throats. We can try and stop the craziness by having more debate, being objective, holding politicians accountable, and the news media, holding the news media accountable to be fair and objective like they're supposed to be. They all say they are. But it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out, you know, they're following script and pushing ideologies that their owners believe in, and pushing politicians that their corporate ownership believes in. You know, there used to be a law you couldn't own like more than 10 radio stations or TV stations or something in this country. I don't know if it still is. But like, you know, all these media companies have parent companies. You know, these mega corporations that own, you know, all kinds of different stuff. And you know, all it takes is, you know, those companies to be run by, you know, left-wing whatever you have, and people who are making deals with the government, you know, that's going to line their pockets, and then the talking heads are just going to toe the line and spew whatever it is in support of those politicians. You know, and then they're running Antifa You know, letting them go wild, and Antifa's, you know, supposed to be against fascism. What do you think it is when the corporations and the media and stuff have lined themselves up with an ideology and political partners and stuff, and then you use that alliance that they have to suppress the free speech of opposition against them? That's fascism. And if you look right now, it's predominantly coming from the left right now. So just want to throw that stuff out there. Got to get going here. My break is just finished up, so off we go again. Wish you all the best out there. God bless. We'll see you in the next one.